Everybody, hey, check it out. Let me give you guys an analogy. In your fantasy drafts this year, everybody's going to be presented with those early round picks where you're just going to have to make the early, correct, safe pick. Right. First down. But check it. Just like in the early rounds, in the later rounds, you're going to be presented with that same thing. And you're going to have to do this. And that's go deep. Get it? Go deep. Guys, since all the pleasantries are out of the way, let's get to it. Don't ask me why I did that. But check it. Welcome back to another episode of Flawless Fantasy Football. And we're back. We're talking about, I'm going to give you guys 5 wide receivers. You know, deep drafted wide receivers. You got to go deep to get these wide receivers. I mean, deep. Sometimes you think you're going deep and you really ain't going deep. Yeah, that's what we got to do to find these wide receivers. So we're going to go with number 1. You know, I could add a lot of these wide. I can go forever and a day with deep wide receivers. But I'm only going to give you 5. Okay? Now, we'll touch on other ones later in the season. I'm not going to talk about everybody right now. But check it out. Here you go. Here's my first deep wide receiver. And I'm going to tell you why. Number 1 is Brandon Ayuk. Whoa, Brandon Ayuk, what has he done? Well, listen, not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. I'm just going to spit a couple quick about each guy. Shanahan's type of person like to put people in the doghouse. Deebo Samuel still hasn't signed to this date as of what? You know, middle to late July, okay? So, not sure exactly the date, maybe 17th, 18th, so whatever. But Deebo Samuel hasn't signed yet. So guess what? Everybody got so jacked up against that Ayuk. Mind you, I'm a 49er fan. Everybody remembers that jump he did on the sideline, and everybody shows it to us every single primetime game. And he got put in the doghouse. And that's what contributed the running back issues and people getting hurt attributed to Deebo Samuel popping off like that and being, used as a running back and everything. But as he got out of the doghouse, he began to start making plays. Now, plus having Trey Lance, which is a quarterback that can throw downfield, which is not Deebo Samuel's specialty, which that pretty much goes to Brandon Ayuk. I believe with Lance and all the things that are around this situation in San Francisco 49ers, that he can be the most beneficial due to the quarterback change and being out of the doghouse. Brandon Ayuk. He's somebody to keep an eye on. And mind you don't have to pay a 5th round price like you did last year. Fourth, maybe even 4th in some leagues if they're PPR. That was way too rich for my blood. Number 2. You can get this guy 9th, 10th round. You don't have to get him in 5th, 6th, or 7th like you did last year because of the quarterback situation. Let me make this caveat right now. I am a stan of this player. Okay? I'm straight up. I am biased because I believe in him. And I believe in the quarterback change to fit his dynamic profile. So I'm going to say that off rip to tell you that Chase Claypool is a deep wide receiver with high upside. If anybody came back to me at the end of the season and said, oh, Chase Claypool ended up being a high-end wide receiver too, number 14, number 13, 14, 15 overall, would I be surprised? No, because it has it in his skill set. This guy actually, he had like 12 or 13 red zone targets, but he only scored 2 touchdowns on the year. It was because of Ben. I don't care how you slice it. If he get 12 or 13 again this year, that's going to result in more freaking touchdowns, more productivity. That's not even counting the yards in production outside of the end zone. I love Chase Claypool. I can easily see him catching 9, 10 touchdowns. And that's a feat for pass receivers this day and age. Number 3. Everybody is in love with freaking Sutton and Judy. I could give a rat's ass, to be totally honest with you. Couldn't care. I believe in this guy. Tim Patrick. He is the one I would swing for the fence on at Denver. Now we know we got Russell Wilson coming over. And let me give you a quick little, because everybody's like, oh, Judy. Oh, Sutton. Put it all over me. No, here you go. Patrick is the one that led the league in touchdown catches the past 2 seasons with Denver. The past 2. Granted, he had 5 last year, but he had 6 in 2020. Led the team. Last year, Sutton had a whopping 2 touchdowns. Judy had 0. Granted, he didn't play the whole year, but he played a good deal of the year. The year before that, Judy had 3 touchdowns, and Sutton he glassed out in the first game, and that's when Patrick went on to score 6 receiving touchdowns. And if you're not scoring your touchdowns deep and over the top, and you're catching 6 touchdowns from scrubs, that tells me that you're a pretty good route runner and you're dependable. We haven't heard things about Tim Patrick having the dropsies. No. I'd rather skip on those because let's say both of them are good. Judy and Sutton. Neither one of them can be a wide receiver 1. I don't think neither one of them can be a high-end wide receiver 2 because they'll eat into one another. So, and I don't particularly think that Denver is going to reward Judy for his bad behavior in the offseason. That's just me. I say Tim Patrick. 4. Now, this is the only guy I can say that he's like a fast twitch, dynamic guy. We've seen him in small sample size. He's in a terrible offense. They did a little bit to help the line and everything, but my gosh. But he's in a perfect situation. You have to look at these Waddle types, these Debo types, and seeing if they can fit the mold. He's a head casing a little bit, to me, in my opinion, but he's dynamic. And if he can stick in there, he can stay in there. I don't believe in the other wide receivers that are on the team. They're washed. They're paid. They have no motivation and youth behind them. But if this guy can keep his head out of his butt, he should be fine. And that's Kadarius Toney for the Giants. He's the type of person, if you pick him around 11, 12, because nobody's even looking at this guy. If you pick him around 10, 11, 12, and he pops like Deebo Samuels, the person that won in one of my leagues of record, he got picked in the late 9th round. Ended up being his number 2 wide receiver. Now, do I think Kadarius Toney could be the number 2 overall wide receiver? No. But is there a world where he might be able to shake a little something and stay healthy and just put a banner season together? It's possible. At least for a good amount of time. He could be a nice steal for that late. Kadarius Toney, number 5. One of my personal favorites. This guy, look, let it be late. Round 13, 14. I'll pick this guy in a heartbeat. This guy's going to have more receiving touchdowns this year. He won't lead the team. In touchdowns. He'll be the number 2 receiver. But this team that he plays on is going to be a more dynamic passing offense, less running. So the coaching staff says. And I believe he's the number 2 outside of what most people believe. So I would say this guy right here, Mr. KJ Osborne. I love KJ Osborne. Okay? Hell, Jefferson's going to be, he's going to get a lot of double teams, and he'll be seeing single coverage a lot of times. That don't mean Jefferson ain't going to get his, so I'm not saying that. But KJ Osborne should be able to eat on the other side. I'm not worried about Thielen. Thielen's washed. Look into my eyes. Right there. Thielen's washed. We're not picking him around here at Flawless, okay? Don't pick him. Let somebody else pick him. He'll miss games, and he's washed. I don't care if he come out and he catch for 70 yards and a touchdown we won. It's going to break, and I don't want him to break on you. We're on upside players that are on the wrong end of age, father time knocking at the door. And because I love you guys, number one, this is in no particular order, by the way. This is in consensus order, half-point PPR, and fantasy pros, like I said. So don't ever think that these are any type of order. You know, this is the order for me as far as prioritizing, because it's not. These are in the ranks in which on fantasy pros, half-point PPR, on their draft rankings, in this particular order. Not right behind each other, but based on how I like them and how I want to address them. I'm going to give you guys a couple bonuses. Because I like you. Because I care about you guys. I care about you guys. No, I do. I know. You know, I love my little small community, intimate gathering settings that we do. It makes my heart warm. Here you go. Now, I think this guy right here can be very productive. Now, I'm going to tell you why. And his name is, I'll put an asterisk here and his name is Jalen Tober. Now, listen, he's battling for the number 2 job at Dallas currently right now. And he's battling with James Washington. But we always know what James Washington is, right? He's James Washington. So, here's the thing. I know that everybody's expecting a lot out of CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb hasn't shown anything, though. They just, the community, the fantasy community in general, just want to see it. But that don't mean he's really done anything, okay? And he's going to be seeing double coverage all the time. And let me explain something to you. Dak, as much as people don't understand or remember, better ask somebody, Dak don't force feed receivers. He throw it to the open guy. That's why I see more production out of like Dalton Schultz, having even more of a banner year this year than he did last year. Listen, I just don't believe Dak's going to force feed him like, let's say, Tony Romo was feeding Dez or something. It ain't going to happen, guys. And last but not least, number 7 would be, who I want it to be. I'm going to give you a little asterisk here. This is injury dependent, okay? I need to preface that. And that's the Chargers wide receiver, Josh Palmer. If anything, and I mean anything, it mean Father Time, it could mean an injury to an old-ass Keenan Allen. Yes, I said that because y'all know I don't support Keenan Allen being a number 1 wide receiver. So yes, that's already a freaking precursor. Understand that he's off my freaking wide receiver 1 list. So, but Josh Palmer, if anything happened to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, this guy is going to skyrocket. He made plays last year. And if he gets inserted to the starting lineup, in 3 wide receiver sets he already will be, but heaven forbid if he's part of the 2 wide receiver package, he's going to blow up, especially with that gunslinger, Justin Herbert, throwing the ball. So there you go, Brandon Ayuk. This is in ADP order, not in particular how I would recommend him. Brandon Ayuk, go down further, Chase Claypool, go down further, Tim Patrick, go down further to Kadarius Toney, KJ Osborne, and Jalen Tober, and Joshua Palmer. All right? So there it is. Those are my going deep with the leg on the shoulder. Deep wide receivers that you can select in your fantasy drafts. It's important to go deep, and it's important to not only go deep, but select high impact players. We don't want pedestrian players. I don't want that for you guys. Okay? Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like the video, press like. Don't film my stuff without pressing like, man. We fam. Press like. Hit the comment section. Let me know. If you comment, let me know, because, every other episode, I'm going to comment and shout out the people that's been hitting me up in the comments. So let me know you're here, guys, all right? Thank you. Again, like, comment, and if this is your first time, subscribe, because here at Fantasy Football platform here at Flawless Fantasy Football, guess what? You hear what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I promise you that. Flawless Fantasy Football. Peace.